Hey guys, sorry about the noise. This will probably be a quick video anyway. So, yeah, I did MDMA. We did MDMA at the weekend. Today's Tuesday. We did MDMA at the weekend, and it was definitely a mistake to do it. I remember reading a thing years ago about when a plane crashes. It's not usually one mistake because there's so many kind of safety devices in a plane and so many safety measures. So when a plane crashes, it's like 8 or 9 things that go wrong usually. And that was kind of what happened, I think, at the weekend. I think there were like 4 or 5 mistakes we made that led to it being quite, not a terrible experience, but ill-advised. So I don't know, a month or 2 ago, I did a video about it. We did MDMA for the first time in years. Like, we hadn't done it for years. I've done other videos as well, of course, about like having abused it in the past. And we had a lot of problems, like a huge amount of psychological problems and relationship issues as a result of heavy MDMA abuse. And we decided recently to try it again, not out of fiendishness or just because there's nothing wrong with doing it occasionally, and we just used to do it too much, and we were in a very bad place in our lives at the time, and that factored into it, and that was, it was a vicious circle in that regard. So we did an NAC, what's referred to as an NAC cleanse leading up to it, where you take loads of NAC. You take NAC like every day for a while, and it resets your tolerance or whatever, and possibly helps with the neurotoxicity. So we did that. And we had an amazing experience. It was really, really good, except, as I mentioned in the video, we took some psychedelics at the end, which was probably a mistake, and it ended the night on kind of a weird note. So we had what I thought was like a bit left, because we'd had more than half a gram that night. And so we had, I thought, like 0.4 left, maybe. But I think this gram had actually come overweight. Anyway, so we thought, yeah, that was great. And we weren't actually in a hurry to do it again necessarily, but we thought, well, we've got the rest left. We'll do that at some point. And we've been trying to do more with our weekends because we were getting into a bit of a rut, especially our dog got injured and we were just like at home playing computer games all the time, and it was becoming a bit sad and depressing. So we've been like tripping more recently and stuff like that. And that's been really good. And, so we had this sitting around, and we thought, like, we'll do it before the weather gets too hot, because we're in Spain, and if you do it when it's really hot, it's worse for you, it's more neurotoxic, and it's a bit uncomfortable to do it in the summer. So we thought, yeah, like, while the weather's still quite cold, we'll do it at some point, finish that off, and then just not buy any more for a long time, and just do other stuff, and that'll be fine. And the errors in judgment were, I guess, that I didn't even really check how long it had been since we last did it, and it hadn't been that long. Now that I think of it, I didn't even really think about that. B, we did shrooms the weekend before. We did shrooms like a week and 2 days ago. C, we didn't do another NAC cleanse really. We took NAC probably 3 or 4 times this time. We only took it really like for the comedown last time. Maybe we took it more than 3 or 4 times, but we didn't do a proper, I don't know why it's called a cleanse, but we didn't do a proper NAC cycle. And 4, we hadn't been sleeping well at all the week leading up to this most recent experience. Last week we weren't sleeping well at all. We had 3 or 4 nights in a row of really bad sleep. So on the day we were really tired, and we tried to have a nap, but like I couldn't sleep. I think because I was just kind of had nervous excitement for the fact that we were going to do MDMA and everything else. And as I say, we didn't really approach it in a fiendish way. It's not like, oh, we did it again, now we're falling into addiction, we have to do it again, and we didn't feel like immensely compelled to do this. We were just kind of planning out our schedule of what things we were going to do on what weekends, and we thought, well, we've got that left, it's going to get really hot soon, the weather, so let's just do that. It'll probably be a relatively small dose, it won't really be like last time, and we will then just kind of move on and not take it again for quite a long time until the winter, maybe. If at all. So it wasn't really like that. It was just, I think it goes to show, I guess more importantly, how careful you have to be with your judgment of these things and how you have to consider everything, because it's a very, very, very serious chemical. It's not something to be taken lightly. It's not a mild drug, and it makes me a bit uncomfortable about its touting as a therapeutic drug. I know it is therapeutic. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying that for a drug that's therapeutic, I guess like many of them, but for a drug that's used therapeutically and has high therapeutic potential, it has potential for extreme downsides. It has a high abuse potential. It is very addictive. Maybe not addictive in the way other things are, but I know it's very moreish. People take way too much of it. You don't have that issue with shrooms. Like, yeah, some people take stupid doses and do really stupid things and get into really stupid situations and can damage themselves psychologically and cause themselves trauma by taking way too much in the wrong situation, etc., etc. But you're not like on shrooms and thinking, oh fuck, I really want to take more, let's extend the night, let's do some more shrooms. Like, that doesn't really happen. That's not really a thing. And you don't really get like a come down. And if you took shrooms every week for a long period of time, it might not be good, but it wouldn't be the same. If you took MDMA every week for a long time, you would be damaged by this experience. Like, the chemical aspect of that would be like terrible. Which is almost, we didn't do it every week, but we used to do it a lot, and it was really bad. And this was a kind of reminder of that. And I'm surprised at how stupid we were, to be honest, because we've become like so much more mature about stuff like this now. And as I say, like, it really wasn't a kind of like, it didn't feel like an impulsive sort of fiendish decision, like, oh, we really need that feeling again, we need to do it again, it really was just a matter of fact kind of thing of like, oh, well, we've got this here, so we'll do this on this weekend, we'll do that on that weekend, we'll do it then, and we'll do it now because the weather's about to get really hot. So we did. Anyway, I guess it was like quite a lot left. It must have been an overweight gram. And we took it, and then, yeah, the come up took a long time, and then it got to about an hour and 20 minutes in. I was thinking, I'm not really buzzing. I feel all right. Like, I'm not exactly... and we'd taken all these supplements. This time I bought even more supplements, because last time we didn't have that many of them. So I bought like green tea extract, quercetin, fish oil, magnesium, all of this shit. And... yeah, I was thinking, yeah, I'm not really... it's all right, feel okay. And then it kind of impairs your judgment. You get into a kind of fragile state where you feel a bit anxious, and you're kind of on it, and you're getting kind of a nice buzz intermittently, and then at times you're feeling a bit shit. So then we were like, well, let's just snort a little bit just to bump us up a bit. And then we snorted a bit, and then I thought, well, we've snorted some, there's not much point like bombing a redose, so I guess we'll just snort this for the rest of the night. And then the night kind of went on, and like at times we felt pretty good, and then at times you're sort of waiting, you're thinking, are we gonna like come up, is this gonna feel good, are we gonna have the experience we had last time? And when you're on it, I think that's, to me, the danger is that like that's when you become more impulsive and stupid. Prior to doing it, there were a lot of oversights we made in preparation, but whilst on it, you just kind of, for me at least, I become overly attached to how I feel in that moment, and then I kind of think, oh yeah, let's just sniff some more, it'll probably feel really good, yeah, like we might feel a bit shit tomorrow if we sniff all of this, but like, that's alright, we're just one night and whatever, I just want to do this. And so we did, and it wasn't really doing much at all. We smoked a bit on it. That was the first time I smoked in forever, in years. I don't really consider it smoking, because it's not really... you're not smoking to get high. You're smoking because you're on MDMA. You're smoking to sort of ease you down, ease the sort of come down, and also apparently smoking prevents a lot of the neurotoxicity from it. And it's just a combination, so I don't really even think of it as smoking weed, but... we did that, we're sniffing it, we're taking all these supplements, and we're like just pacing around and both feeling, at times just quite anxious. For most of the night, fine. We had a decent enough night. It was okay, but you have this feeling in the back of your mind, like, this isn't really worth it, is it? Like, we're having a fairly decent night. Feel quite good, but not amazing. And I know in the back of my mind that this is going to have, like, this has an effect, you know, and that there's going to be a hangover from this. And then towards the end of the night, both started to feel pretty shit, really, like quite bad. Not depressed, just anxious, really. Maybe it was the weed, but started to feel very anxious, not much of a buzz. And I kept thinking the whole night, all right, well, when we get past this phase, we'll get into the sort of like weed smoking, chilling out, eating food, taking a Valium kind of phase where you accept that the night is over, and you tend to kind of everything becomes a bit smoother, and you sort of settle down. And I find that it tends to feel quite good, you know, because you sort of accept you're not going to like really buzz anymore, and you just relax and watch a bit of TV or whatever, and it feels good. And even then, yeah, like took 5 mg of Valium, which would usually be enough, and still feeling pretty anxious. Took another 5 mg, still didn't feel great, really. Ended up going to bed at like 2 because we just were thinking we're not gonna enjoy this at all, you know. We're just sitting around like feeling bad. It was surprising. It was surprising how bad we felt. I guess the lack of sleep had something to do with it, and all the other factors. The fact that it'd probably been just over a month since we last took it. We didn't do enough NAC leading up to it. We abused it a lot in the past. We took shrooms the weekend before. I forgot that, to be honest. Like, I didn't even think about it. I didn't even think about that, which is really dumb. So, yeah, lesson learned. I mean, I don't have any interest in doing it again anyway for the foreseeable future. And if I ever do again, it will be like a maximum probably once every 6 months thing. Really, I think at this point, at my age, and given our history of abusing it, I think probably once a year, even in quite controlled circumstances, would be like enough. I don't think it's something you need to do, or certainly should do often. So from that point of view, yeah, it was stupid. I think because the last experience was so positive, we just thought like, it should be all right. But yeah, it's weird. It's depressing to me. It reminded me, seeing now how sort of the way we felt like following it, which I'll get into, but knowing how kind of not okay that is, and how unhealthy that feeling is, and how potentially unhealthy what we did was, it's really disturbing to me to remember how flippantly we used to do that as basically like kids. It's really disturbing. The culture around it is very bad. And I don't think that was really what influenced us anyway, but there is a very bad culture surrounding it, and it has huge abuse potential in the wrong hands, in the wrong situations, and it can mess you up so badly. Like, we felt really bad on the night. Usually the next day you feel all right, like the come down comes like Tuesday, Wednesday. The next day we felt terrible, like really bad. Immediately afterwards, you know, on Sunday. And we had like a horrific argument, like really, really bad. I got seriously angry. I was like shouting and like I felt like my heart pounding. I felt so stressed out and angry, and like I just couldn't handle the situation. And it was fine, but it was a horrible reminder of how our life used to be, because we don't really, well, we fight now, but like back then we used to really fight. We used to be like, you know, someone you wouldn't want to live near kind of thing, like really bad, really, really, really bad. And it was kind of like that, like the neighbours probably heard us like screaming and stuff, you know, and having this really super sort of psycho drama over literally nothing. And it was depressing, because I thought, man, it's weird that your brain is so, you know, you think you are who you are, and you have your personality, and you make your own choices, and then you realise like I haven't felt like that in years, And to suddenly, just from a chemical change, to suddenly change that much as a person, it's illuminating. It makes you realise it sort of shows you what drugs can do to people. And when you read like crazy stories in the news, people doing this and that, meth addicts doing this, coke addicts doing this or that, and you think, man, like there's just a person under there who's not like that, who's been chemically altered heavily by the substances they've taken. Of course, you choose to take them. I'm not, but it's just crazy. It's crazy that you can do that to yourself, that you can, just by changing something chemically in your mind, your personality can be like radically different. Because I never would normally handle that situation in that way. I'm generally pretty calm. I felt so intensely angry and upset and stressed. And yeah, it was very disturbing. And very, for us it was weird, because like our life used to be like that every day. Most days, maybe not every day. Like we wouldn't have been able to handle that. But most days, maybe not even most, probably 3 out of 7, I would say. 3 days every week, and the other 4 were maybe okay. I don't know. I don't remember, to be honest. There were years and years and years of extreme stress. And the thing is that even when we stopped abusing drugs like that, it left a very lasting imprint on our brains, both chemically and I think behaviorally. Like all of that shit we went through and the ways in which it changed us, they created patterns, and they created a lot of trauma, and they created a lot of memories and things that could easily be drawn upon, and a lot of resentment and pain and trauma between the two of us. So it's not just that it chemically alters you, but after a while, those chemical alterations become part of your identity as well, regardless of if you go back to normal. So for us, it took breaking up. It took a long time away from each other and a lot of personal growth as individuals to really deal with all of that. So yeah, it was weird to be in, like, sort of reminded of all that, and depressing to think of how many people think that they are fucked up, think that they have these problems, and don't realize that sometimes it can be as simple as like you're kind of like pressing a button in your brain. So we felt pretty bad. Anyway, that was Sunday, and then we were both like, this is, we got to kind of like grab hold of this situation and sort ourselves out. We've been taking all the stuff since then, 5-HTP, NAC, quercetin, fish oil, all this shit. And yesterday, Monday, was all right. It was pretty good. We had some quite good news, actually. we found $1,000 in like some resource we didn't know we had. So that was a pretty cool thing to happen on a come down, to be like, oh, we had this bit of money sitting around we didn't know about. That was kind of amazing. I kept reminding myself, that's the same as if you found that in cash. If you just found like $1,000 in the street, you'd lose your mind. So yeah, that was good. And we had pretty good. We've just been trying to stay outside a lot and like just stay super relaxed. We both had the day off. And today, yeah, feel all right. Don't feel great. I feel like the brain fog and everything, and mostly fine, but a bit sort of like wistful, I guess, and a bit sad to think about it, and sad to remember what those times were like, and a bit sad that I could be so stupid, really, like to not think about the situation we were heading into, to be a bit complacent, because the time before, I guess the difference is, in the past, this bad experience would happen, and 2 weeks later I would want to just do it again anyway. And in between that, I'd be drinking and I'd be smoking weed all day. It's horrible, man. It's horrible. It's horrible, the state you can get into with drugs. And I don't know how much of that was just who I was at the time, and that was my decision-making process, and how much of it is a slow spiral. You know, like it's one bad choice and then that opens you up to more bad choices and it opens you up to more bad choices, and personal accountability has to come in. There's no other way, I don't think, of dealing with these things. I don't agree with the model of like it's purely a health problem and you're not at fault in any way. I just don't think that's helpful or productive or right, and I think it's demeaning to everyone involved. But looking at it like objectively, I don't know like it's hard to unpick because there's so many factors. There's just your own stupid choices, there's the environment you're in, there's the problems you have mentally, the difficult things you've dealt with that make you more predisposed to make bad decisions, there's the addictiveness of the chemicals, there's all of this stuff. But it's at least now, like having had this experience, we think, okay, definitely for indefinitely, like no more of that. As I said, maybe once a year or so, once every 6 months or whatever, in very precise circumstances. But yeah, I don't know. It's not an experience we need, really, anyway. As at this age, like, and at this point in our lives, I think we've had enough of it. We've had enough, like, euphoria and sort of openness and all of that stuff. I think I want to focus a lot more on shrooms and tripping, because it can be more difficult. The experience of it can be more difficult. You have to put a bit more in, a bit more effort, but it's amazing that you get the opposite. You know, you take shrooms and, like, I know for some people they can have very bad effects. They seemingly did on a family member of mine, maybe, I don't know, but it's all a bit murky. But I mean, generally speaking, like you don't, you know, it's not a hard drug. It's not something that just like obliterates your serotonin and makes you feel terrible. And I know that some people use MDMA very responsibly and they're fine. They, you know, they can do it every 3 months. They do 1.3 and maybe a small redose. Not 1.3. Jesus. They do 0.13 and a small redose. Don't take 1.3. People do stuff like that in the UK, honestly. People do stuff like that. Like, there's a really bad culture of it there. And I've known people who taken crazy amounts. With us, the regularity of it was very bad in the past, and the amounts we took way too much. But I've known people who took it beyond that level, even to a point that it makes me sad when I remember it, and it hurts me to think about, because I can't imagine. I can kind of imagine what that does to a person's brain, and I know how your perspective becomes so warped when you take a lot of drugs, and the sadness and emptiness and anger and disconnection that you feel, it just changes you, man, and it changes everything that you do. And we need to have more honest discussions about drugs, I think, because they're a part of our lives. I don't think it's right to just be like, no, just don't do them, you know. I know for some people that's right, but in general, like for me, I don't know. I think we needed to put a lot more care and thought into our relationship with them overall as a society and as individuals, but and change the way we think about them. I don't think that comes from like just say no or whatever, because that obviously doesn't work. And we could lose out on a lot, you know. Even shrooms can have very bad effects on people, but I think we would lose out on a lot if people didn't take them. So anyway, yeah, I'm going to get into more of that kind of shit. I don't really want to do anything that's going to make me feel like crap anymore. I don't mind feeling like crap for one night as part of the experience. I don't love it, to be honest. I don't love having bad trips, but I like, but I'm happy to feel that way if it's in service of something good. I don't want to sacrifice my week for, you know, we had to take the day off, and today I still feel pretty slow and I'm getting stuff done, but I was building momentum in life, you know, and doing things and accomplishing things, and you have to take this like 3 or 4 days out of your schedule, and then you're really slow and you feel bad, and it's not worth it. I don't think it's worth it. Maybe once a year or something to feel that you can feel that way, and to open yourself up and to do this. And I know everyone's different and everyone has a different experience of it, and there are some people where it's probably more necessary. Like, I'm already quite an open person, maybe partially from doing all of these drugs, but still at this point, yeah, I don't think I need, like, that was the thing as well, is like, we were doing it and I was like, what's it even talk about? We're just chatting about shit. We're just taking a euphoric drug that opens you up to all these emotions, and we're just talking about random shit. Just talking about like dogs and like fucking random facts and music and stuff. You can just talk about that stuff anyway. It's not like we were talking through all our personal demons, because like we kind of have done that already. So yeah, I feel a bit not even depressed about what happened, but a bit mildly uncomfortable and sad about what happened. It was a bit stupid, but I feel good that, you know, we have the presence of mind to sort of move forward positively, and I want to I hope it's something, I don't know how, I don't know how, but I would in future like to contribute towards changing the culture around things like that and the mindset around things like that, more than just by like talking about my own experiences in videos, because it's sad. The relationship we have with drugs, it's sad, man. And even anything, you know, alcohol, same thing in many ways. But anyway, yeah, so that, and I feel optimistic about trying to take things like, as I said, like shrooms that can help you grow as a person more, maybe, potentially. I know it's not as simple as that anyway. They don't always do that, and it's not as simple as like, do this and you'll be better, and do this and you'll fix your depression or make you a more functioning person or whatever. But yeah, I think generally speaking, there's a more constructive. It comes from a more constructive kind of place, and I feel now ready to do that, to try and do things that add something to my life, rather than to do things that take away from my life in exchange for pleasure. So yeah, a lot to think about, and overall, now it being Tuesday, don't feel too bad. I think the NAC helps a lot, I think it's NAC. I'm sure it is the NAC. I think NAC is the only thing I really have felt make like a substantial difference. I don't know, but feel fine, really. And it was really just Sunday that was bad. Maybe finding that money helped. Yeah, anyway, good. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comments. Bye.